Hey everyone,
We're back.
we're back.
Oh,
That's right. You got to welcome to the BBQ and Brews Show. That was well timed. I like it. Welcome back, guys. We are back for another season of the BBQ and Brews Show, coming to you live from Mount Pleasant Road Brews right here in Geelong. I keep pausing on that. I don't know why. My brain's just not working. It's too early. Need more beer, which is why we're here.
well, we can't help with plenty to drink from.
No, that's
Choices.
Well, Mark, how you been? We've had a bit of a break. Obviously, across meat stock. I think the hangover is really hangover, but
Yeah.
now we're
I'm
getting
starting,
prepped
the
for
hand's
next.
starting to shake. I need to get another meat stock. I can feel it coming.
Me too.
All the announcements have been out. I'm pumped and excited for next
Good
year.
Gurus, Sydney. Oh my god, it's gonna be so good. Oh look, who we got on the shirt today?
Barnesy. It's going to be
It's gonna be late. I know.
I can't do it as well as you, but I tried.
Oh, I can't do it as well as Barnesy,
True.
but we'll get him on shortly. But obviously, Barnesy from Weber or BBQ Adelaide in Adelaide, obviously, and he's got a couple of Weber stores. Going to come on, have a chat, talk about how he won a Weber not like 12 years ago or something like that, and then basically, let me just turn this music off because it's going to keep doing that. Oh my god!
As you can see, new studio, still a few bugs.
Yeah, that's it. This is a good studio. Oh, just a quick heads up too. We're going to have some sound disruptions, so bear with us while the guys to the right of us.
They're still constructing our green room at the
Yeah,
back.
we're good.
You can hear the building.
It's got massive
inside.
smokers going in. But yeah, obviously, Barnes is going to come in and have a chat. We're going to learn about everything about Weber, about him, and the man and the myth and the legend that he is. But before we get going, we've got a few sponsors we've got to thank for coming on board again this year. So we've got Without Fear again, obviously, clothes that spark conversation, doing huge amount of work in that space to actually fund projects that help people come out of fear and get out of fear and live their better lives. So really happy to have them back on it as well as Jack's Creek, some of the best red meat we've had for a long time. Can't get enough of that Wagyu egg. So yeah,
So good.
good to have Jack's Creek here and our friends at Versus Merch who are merching us up. That's what Mark actually and I actually look like we matched for once, which is great. But yeah, also a bit of a giveaway. Each show we do, best comment is going to basically win a coupon to get into our into our store and pick themselves some t-shirts. You can either pick. I'm not sure of this shirt because I think this is guest and show.
There'll be another
only,
one there, I'm sure.
but there's a few to choose from there as well. And then finally, obviously, Mount Pleasant Road Brewers, who are great sponsors, and that's probably a great segue, Mark. What are you drinking today? Because
at the moment, my glass is empty, but I've
we've
got a
got
big
a
choice.
tap.
So you get to
to
enjoy watching me
All right, so
embarrass
Mark's
myself
gonna,
and pour a
pick
beer.
his beer.
I'm
What have you done, buddy?
just going to go the Tropical Ellipse Pale Ale.
Oh yeah, here we
Oh,
go,
look, it looks like I've done this before.
mate.
A bit premature stop.
That's all right, mate. And
Starting a little bit
I'm
ahead.
just going to go a little bit easy and just get my comment going.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Just the old classic way. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
All right, let's have a quick one.
Everyone loves a little head.
Breakfast beers. All righty. Without further ado, let's get the man because that's one of the reasons you're here to watch the show. Let's get Barnesy into the show and kick him off. Hey, Barnes, how you doing, buddy?
Tubers? Is it the tubers today or is it bookers? Where are we?
Bookers and tubers. So yeah,
Bookers and tubers.
That's it.
Cracking day here in Adelaide, lads.
Mate, how many degrees is it? So it looks like it's 35 at least.
38 today in Adelaide, boys. It is a stinker. It's a cracking day right here.
Oh, mate, that close. That's unreal, Barnesy. Good to have you, mate. We've been watching you from afar. Obviously, we're based out in Geelong, but nice to have you on the show. But I think before we kick things off, we have to ask our
The
guests.
most important question: what are you drinking?
Mate, I'm actually I got invited on the show and you sent me a link and said, can you please get a beer and drink it on the show? I'm thinking, who says no to that ever? So in Adelaide, most of us are drinking the South Coast Pale Ale, pretty well supported by Pirate Life and the guys, the barbecue community. They do a lot for the barbecue community, as you know, Australia-wide. So that's what I'm drinking.
No, mate. Cheers, buddy. Good to have you on. And love the T-shirt too. That just get surrounded by Webers. That's a great little spot there you got, mate. Now, tell us how you got started with in your barbecue journey, mate. Obviously, I think you won a barbecue. Is that right? Is that how it began?
Yeah, I won my first Weber Q probably 12, 13 years ago in a raffle. But that was my first Weber, but always loved barbecuing. I guess, guys like yourself who have a lot to do with meat stock and stuff like that. You've got the low and slow barbecue community, which is growing massively in Australia. But there's a lot of barbecuing outside of that. So I'm a foodie as well. So a lot of people say, oh, you weren't on the barbecue scene. I've always been a foodie, always loved barbecues from the time I've seen someone pour a beer on some onions on a flat plate when I was 15 years of age. And I've stood next to it ever since. Whenever there's a barbecue, I just can't get enough. I love it.
No, that's fantastic, mate. And obviously, I mean, it's one thing to love barbecue and obviously cook barbecue and obviously do the content and things like that. It's a whole nother thing to have 2 barbecue stores. Tell us, I mean, like that's another step up. So tell us, how did that happen, mate? Because I mean, obviously, you've come on, you've taken on, the Weber franchise. You've got a couple of great stores there, Jeps Cross, Mile End. I always get those two mixed up, but I should know these ones. Brother. But yeah, tell us how they got started, mate, and which one was first as well, and that journey.
Yeah, so Jeps Cross was the first one. That's nearly 3 years old. So it's happened quite quickly. And I was a carpet retailer at Solomon's Flooring. I bought a Weber for my shack at the time, a Summit. Absolutely loved it. And then Weber came to the Homemaker Centre at Jeps Cross one day and said, oh, can we talk to you about the centre? We've got someone that we're looking at opening up a Weber store. We've got this new concept. And long story short, 6 weeks later, they rang me and said, oh, the other prospect fell through. Can we come and talk to you about opening a Weber store? I was like, mate, can you talk to me? I said, build one here. I'll spend 10 grand a year with you. So that's how it came about. And I remember him saying at the time, we don't normally partner with carpet shops. It's a little bit of an odd pairing. So we've been selling carpet for the last 20 years, and now I'm cooking Webers. It's amazing. So you go from one being probably, if you think about what you want to do when you grow up as a kid, selling carpet for 20 years is probably not high on the cooking barbecues certainly is. So I've just been blessed ever since, obviously, and fell into it, loved it, used what I'd learned in 20 years of retail to obviously build my Weber store brands and hopefully create a big part of what the prototype is moving forward. It was quite early. I think we're about number 13. It's the second one in Adelaide at Jeps Cross. Now there's 50 in Australia. So, Weber store brands certainly out there and hopefully, I can contribute to making it great and one of the best barbecue brands, if not the best in the country.
No, that's amazing. I think this year's shown what you've done for in the Weber store brand has definitely paid off. Both obviously the way things are moving as well as being recognised, and we'll touch on a few of the awards and things like that. But being recognised as I guess one of the leading Weber stores in Australia, mate. So that's unreal, mate. Let's just stay with barbecue before we go deep into Weber, because I mean I've got a kettle. I'm a huge fan. I've cooked on the smoke fire behind you as well, and it's just the killers. And obviously you got the new Q out, which is bloody a low and slow setting, which is exciting a few people. But mate, so you barbecue, what's your favorite barbecue to cook on? And tell us what your average sort of cook is these days.
Probably don't do a lot of cooking at home as much anymore. My wife does a lot. By the time we get home, it can be late. Probably, I guess, Sam Ellis, when I go out with Sammy, he's a massive Weber nut. We do a few catering gigs and so forth. The best one and the biggest, toughest one we've ever used would be the Weber Ranch. It's 1.05 diameter cooking space.
Yeah, that thing's huge.
It's got some grunt and muscle. So, yeah, we haven't tested it to its full capabilities, but definitely the Weber Ranch would be my go-to if I had one.
No, fantastic, mate. And
it even sounds tough in the background. You can hear it responding.
Oh, mate, that's a whole. Oh, it's a smaller one. It's a smaller thumper, mate. We'll get through it. They're going to smash it out hopefully, and then we're done. But what were you going to ask, Mark?
Let's say, what's your favourite meat to cook?
My favourite meat. That's a good question. Probably ribeye. Probably when you go to a tomahawk, you eat with your eyes. It's a little bit of theatre to that. People always love it. You get the long handle on there.
Yeah,
really enjoy that. Or a nice eye fillet. I like to do a little bit different than barbecue, but I like to sear it first and then finish it off. So probably eye fillet or ribeye.
Nice, mate. Nice. And I think I have to ask, and this is from kind of where I work at the moment. But what's your favorite lanes rub, mate? Just for a shameless plug.
100%. There's no shameless plug in that, and that's a question without notice. Just let me see what you asked me to say. Magic Dust. So without doubt, Magic Dust is probably one of the best rubs ever. We
Yeah,
use it with
100%. Yeah.
Those unaffiliated, what's
Bullseye.
their second favourite rub?
Well, we're
Sorry,
pretty
mate.
lucky. We're pretty lucky and well represented in South Australia.
Yeah, you got a few there.
So we got, MWA is probably my favourite rub, Rick Carr.
Yes.
Rub of the year, whereas I sit out from Rub of the Week to Rub of the Year because it's got the best name, MWA. We got Smoky Pastures, Rub and Grub. Justin Mango, Smoking Mangoes, that's killer if you haven't had that. He's got the Cluck and Rib Rub, which is absolutely magic, especially with some of his sauces. So
Yeah, he's
any of the South Australian
level.
ones. Next level glazes. We've been glazing wings with it lately, and telling people it's a secret. There's no secret. It's just killer stuff. And where do you guys sit when you look at how many rubs are manufactured out of South Australia and representation on the barbecue scene around Australia? I mean, I think we're blessed here. I honestly think that we've got heaps of good rubs, heaps of good people representing barbecue, and we're punching above our weight in the national stage in that space, I think.
Oh, absolutely, mate. I think there's the barbecue scene in Australia is so huge and has grown quite a lot in the last few years. Every time we get a meat stock, we catch up with a bunch of people
and so many amazing people come and say hi to us from South Australia, and there's a few people there. We love what they're doing as well, and I get inspired by a fair few there as well.
No, absolutely, mate. And I think the
Adriano, he's loving it, isn't he? He's
living
his best life.
Yeah, mate. When is he not flying? I love his he's doing great.
He's got the BRZ. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, those flavors are really nice as well, man. He brings the Brazilian flavors in, which is really, really nice. And I guess it's just one of those things that with that sort of culture in Adelaide, you seem to have obviously BBQ Adelaide is the name you're working on and you use, which is great. But I think you seem to be part of that barbecue family Adelaide and growing it. But how important is that? Because you sort of see the people that you pull in. You got you got a whole bunch of different people coming in, which is great. But what's that like, having that community?
It's fantastic, and I guess coming in and not knowing anyone in the community. And I remember Kazira was working for me at the time. She said, "Oh, we got to get these rubs in the shop." She used to have a butcher shop. She said, "We get the rubs in, people will buy them." And I said, "All right, we'll get the rubs in, place an order." She goes, how much can I have? I said, "Just order whatever you want." And she come back and said, "Oh, it's $27,000. I said, $27,000 worth of rubs? Are you kidding me? Well, how many rubs have we got? And they turned up and there wasn't a great deal there, to be honest with you. But it was probably one of the best things we've done because I feel like it has given exposure to guys who are creating their rubs and stuff like that. But all of a sudden, they come in and do demo cooks for us, yeah? And I try to create this model in my shop as a retail space to go, well, I want the shop to look, smell, and taste like it would if you came to my house. And when you guys ask the question all the time, is what barbecue means to you? And I feel like it's not taking yourself too seriously. There's a lot of pressure for cooking for people when you got friends and family coming over, but you can't take yourself too seriously. We all burn stuff, we all undercook stuff, we've all done it. But to have the support of the low and slow barbecue community in South Australia, we got to a point when we opened my land probably a year and a half after Jep's Cross. I had that many people saying, "Barnesy, we're coming to the opening, we're coming to the party, we're doing this." And I ended up having to say no to people. And they're like offended. They're like, "Oh, that's it. Don't you like me?" And I'm like, "I love you, but we've got 30 people cooking barbecues." Like, it's their passion. And the one thing that I'd say to people from outside the barbecue community is when it's your passion, right? You do it because you love it. You don't do it because it's money. These guys, Sammy's cutting trees down and Adriano's doing IT, and all these people have got their day jobs, but their passion is barbecue. So, you ask them, going, "Oh, we've got an event on. Can you help out?" Of course I can help out. What do you mean? I'm getting paid to cook barbecues and drink beers and just absolutely live the dream. Like it's not working. It's like I said, when we host an event, we host one Jep's Cross the other night for 30 people. You get to choose the music you want. You get to drink the drinks that you want. You get to feed them the food you want. You get to tell them the stories you want, and you get paid for it. You're kidding me? Like, if I had 30 people come to my house this afternoon for a barbecue, I'd be doing exactly the same thing. So our stores, we want them to sound good. That's sort of what we've brought to Weber Store is the music's pumping. You can come in and get a beer 365 days a year. We're licensed. We'll give you a beer. We want you to walk past on a Saturday morning and go, "I'm going to go and see Barnesy and get a rub." And, you don't even have to buy anything. We'll give you a beer and we'll show you how to cook a tomahawk or talk to you about any of the barbecues. And and I guess that's as a little bit of a segue is a lot of people in the low and slow community think that, barbecuing is all about charcoal, and charcoal is a fuel supply. If you're directly cooking over, it's fantastic. But the results we get on Weber Qs, the amount of people I've worked with from the barbecue community that say, oh, I'm going to get a Weber Q now. They're all great. The cooking method's the same. So, yeah, blessed to have all the support of everyone in that South Australian barbecue community. They've done so much for my business. I wouldn't be where I am without the support of all of them, really.
No, that's it, man. I know that Mark's a huge fan of Paul Solomon too. So,
he's a friend of the show, and I've seen him at meets a few times. The fact that you did that back to the butcher with him, so for a guy who goes, I'm retiring from butchering, and then straight away he's working with you guys. He didn't retire for very long, did he?
and I remember because he'd done a few events with us, and when you talk about passion, right? Paul is passion for barbecuing and butchering, especially. He's lucky enough now where he's training at the TAFE 3 days a week, which is what he wants to do. He's passionate in teaching apprentices, but I tell people, I'm not a chef, I'm not a butcher. I teach you how to use your barbecue, right? But when you look at someone who's at the top of their field, one of 5 master butchers in Australia, one of 55 in the world, when you work with someone like that is passionate about it, and I guess the only thing that I don't get to do enough is sit down on the other side of the bar and watch what he does. Yeah. I've probably done 50 hours with Paulie this week. He's never complained. He's the hardest working guy I know. He's passionate. And what he doesn't know about butchering, you couldn't write on a postage stamp. He's a weapon. I love him. He's great to work with. And one of the key figures, I guess, in the barbecue community, along with Tony Dick. Right, we got the Dick buns down here. I guess we're blessed in that regard. So every time people look at the black one, they go, "Is that burnt?" They just somehow we cooked 105 yesterday at the golf club, and people just cannot comprehend a black bun, or a beetroot powder bun, and it's like they all taste the same. There's colouring in there to make it look like that, but. Yeah, again, how lucky are we in South Australia to get fresh Dick buns from Tony every day and be able to cook with them is amazing. So he's definitely a king.
Sometimes we get some snuck over the border to us, and we get very excited. People come over and go, I brought you someone. Oh, you're our best friends now. Thank you for that.
Yeah, we've had a few little sneaking, and obviously, Tony's been down in Geelong as well. I've actually caught up with him down here, so hopefully going to get him on the show as well. Now we can do we're trying to do AMs, and he's like, I can do AMs. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But that's what I love about it. So go on.
If I ever wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, which I do at times, and have to start like everyone cooking briskets or doing some stuff like that, I ring up Tony because you think, who can I ring up at this time? It's like, Tony, good afternoon, mate. How you going? And he's like, what do you want? I'm like, I just want to ring someone at 4:30 in the morning. Mate, they're going to take my call. So he's great, generous to the whole community, and like I said, everyone is, and that's what they do. They're doing it because they love it. They want to help, and there's just something about it. I always say, nothing bad happens after you light a chimney. You sit there in the morning, you light a chimney, and you just go, wow, it's going to be a good day.
No, that's it, mate. And look, I just want to sort of circle back on your store and your that atmosphere you built. And the fact that I love the fact you said never take yourself too seriously, because I think that sort of comes across a lot in your socials and the way you sort of obviously promote things. We've got the rub of the week.
It's the only store where it's actually really entertaining to go and watch your videos and go, I've got to go see what Barnesy's up to because it's so entertaining. Even though it's a store, it's so entertaining to see what each week you're doing.
And I feel like it's it's a master business move, right? The way you do that, and the way you create that atmosphere, and the way you actually get people to your store, and like you said, they just want to come and see you or experience the atmosphere. And those events, like I think you mentioned, before we went live, you're driving 4 hours to these events to try and make them happen. So it's a lot of work. Speaking to even Sandy at your office there, like they're working really hard to make these things happen. So, is that something that obviously it's obviously not, you plan it all out, but how important is that having that next event, because I feel like that's such a key part of that sort of success in that the Weber space.
100%, and there is the fun side on camera and that sort of stuff, but behind those scenes, and like I said, we've gone from Pinaroo this week to drive 4 hours to host an event at Jeps Cross till 10:30 at night, and then get up at 6:30 in the morning, cook for a golf day in a week, and then we're here with you guys. And the events is nothing stands still. And like I said before, is I've used a lot of my retail skill that I've learnt over the years to bring to this Weber store model that I have. And one of them is work ethic. And make no mistake, I've had successful mentors. A mate of mine played footy at a high level, and he wasn't the biggest guy out there. And he said to me, I knew when I lined up next to that guy on the weekend, didn't matter how big, how fast, or how tough he was, that he couldn't have worked harder than me during the week to prepare. And I do work hard. My wife works hard to prepare. It is so hard. I was at the shop yesterday at 5:15 in the morning, and Paulie Solomon opens the door, and he's there to get some stuff, to mince some burgers up and stuff like that. So hard work in any business model. Nothing comes for free. Nothing's easy. If you want to be successful and driven, you work harder than the next bloke, because that's what you have to do. And for me, that's my fallback, is go, okay, I might not be the best salesperson, or I might not be in the biggest store in Australia, but no one's going to outwork me. And I mean that. I honestly mean that, and I believe that. And, if they do, good luck to them. But if they don't, I'm still going to die trying, because I love it.
No, that's it, mate. And I guess with all that, some of the segments and stuff you do, mate, are quite funny. I know Mark had some questions.
Look, the most important thing everyone's asking.
Yeah, everyone else needs to know, mate.
What is your workout routine?
Yeah.
How do you get abs like you've got? Because they're amazing. And all I see is you eating barbecue and getting abs. I want this workout routine.
Yeah. So it definitely helps when you got someone good that can cut and paste and do all that stuff. I've got some. The actual guy whose abs they were, I had to stand behind him and lift his shirt up. And I said, come over here, get those abs. And I was getting cooking oil, and I was spraying him on his abs, and I was wiping him down. And the poor guy was standing there for 10 minutes in the middle of the shop with me just lifting his shirt up. And the time of year got right. So, again, taking the piss out of myself, I think, has got to be the number one thing, where is if you want to have a laugh, you can't take yourself too seriously. And some of the best mates that I have are always having a laugh, whether it's at their expense or mine, and trying to keep it fun, so that, the rub of the week and the abs and all of those things, it's quite amazing. And the support that we get. I remember when I run into you guys at Meat Stock for the first time, oh, yeah, you got to come and do this. It's like, come on, let's go. Let's do it. So, Rihanna, I know you've been speaking with our mate Mitch recently from the Australian Brisket Board. Medium Mitch, I call him. He loves it. So,
John,
shout out to him if he ever does this. But yeah, John Stamos. But I have a little shorter version. John scaled down version. Well done, Medium Mitch, wherever you are. He's probably hawking chopping boards on the side of the road somewhere in bloody Queensland. But, another great guy who, again, for me, he's a legend. And I rang him up and said, we're having this birthday party at Mile End. I met him through a mate of mine, JK Barbecue and Outdoor in Loganholme, who's a Weber store, and he had the brisket boards. And I met Mitch virtually, basically, like I know you guys, and said, Mitch, I'm having this party, mate. I buy 8 chopping boards a year off you, but do you want to fly down and come to this party for 3 days? And he's like, I'm there. And I tell you what, it was a great 3 days. Like it was like a circus, We had kegs of beer getting tapped. We've had Dave Gleason from the Screaming Jets play live concerts in the store. We've got DJs. So we've got a block and tackle permanently placed in the shop now, where we can hang, beasts up there and butcher them for people. So we want it to be an experience, and like I said, we are hopefully taking everyone in the community along for a ride with us, and it does help too. And again, we got Yeti. Obviously, I can see you drinking out of a Yeti there. Hopefully, it is. My eyesight isn't as good as it used to be. No,
it was definitely a Yeti. I was just having an early coffee, mate, just to get the.
Yeah, definitely, definitely a Yeti. But to represent a brand like Weber is a dream come true, and I'm absolutely serious about that. I never take it for granted. When I sold my first ever Weber, I was emotional about it. I get emotional thinking about it now. Just, 1 in 3 barbecues in Australian backyards are the Weber Q. If you think about what probably the most Australian pastime is, it would be barbecuing. So to represent or be able to sell and deal in Webers on a daily basis, the first time I ever drove there for work, I was honestly emotional, like in my car going, I cannot believe I'm going to Weber to learn about barbecuing, right? For a job. This is ridiculous. And you think about, I love AFL, I would have loved to play AFL or be an AFL commentator, but that's other than that, I mean, to cook and work in Weber for a living, I am living the dream. It's pretty easy to get on camera and go, how good's this? We're listening to the Hilltop Hoods, drinking pirate-like beers, cooking Wagyu tomahawks on it, whatever barbecue we want. Like, let's go. Like, what else is there? And we hosted a night with Yeti a few years back, and Tuffy Stone come down.
Yes.
I remember saying to Adriano, I said, oh, do you want to come in early and do some prep for this Tuffy Stone event? And he goes, Tuffy Stone? And he goes, rang me back and he goes, is this a virtual event? I said, no, he's going to be in the shop. He goes, you're kidding me. So
I know, that was so good, mates.
He come down and he's great mates with Tuffy today. But I remember sitting there, and I go back to this gas barbecue, and Tuffy's the 6-time barbecue world champion, Weber ambassador globally, Yeti ambassador globally. So we got the microphones, and someone said he had COVID later and gave everyone COVID, but at least he turned up and did the job. And I guess people could probably talk about that now. When did you have COVID and go out and give it to someone else and think you'd never get caught? So, but anyway, Tuffy says to me, he goes, what's your favourite barbecue to cook on, Barnesy? And I said,
no, that's
the
exactly
Weber
what
Q.
he sounds like.
That's exactly. What's your favourite barbecue, Barnesy? And I said, the Weber Q, Tuffy. And he goes, I've got 1,500 barbecues, Barnesy, and none of them are gas. Oh, no, 15 barbecues and none of them are gas. I said, I've got 1,500. I said, how many Yeti do you have, Tuffy? So I'm like, mate, I don't care how many charcoal barbecues you got. This is a weapon, and I'm telling you now, makes as good a roast potatoes as you've ever had in your life. And speaking of roast potatoes, I guess that's my one wood is I work with a lot of people and go, if you can nail a roast potato, it's going to take people back to their grandma. And when you talk about the low and slow barbecue community, and I said before how that's a small part of the barbecue community in Australia, is like I said, not everyone's cooking a brisket every day. Not everyone's cooking pork ribs. You know, you can't go out and buy that food regularly. But when you look at the Weber kettle and what it represents, Ross bought it here in 1978. But we're roasting country, right? We have a roast on a Weber kettle. We have a roast chicken. We have a roast lamb. We got roast veggies. The Sunday night roast is traditionally based around that. So, yeah, a lot of people don't recognise how important the roast is for Australian barbecue and what our culture and our community is, as opposed to the American low and slow side of it. Roasting on a Weber kettle is definitely probably our biggest pastime, and why a lot of people, when we're talking to people in the shop, we're not talking to mums and dads about, you know, low and slow brisket or pulled pork and stuff like that. We're talking to them about how to get a perfect roast or how to get a perfect roast potato. So these barbecues, they're all designed with lid down cooking Weber. So they circulate, they base the food. So once you actually work in it and do it for a while, the flavour that we'll be able to achieve in this barbecue as opposed to this one, I can tell you can have the best taste buds in the world, but I don't reckon you know the difference if we cook them to the same method. Pretty effective.
And then, I mean, probably a good segue to talk about the new Q, obviously, which has brought a few different things, which is lid open and as well as low and slow. So that's an interesting sort of 5 years in the making for Weber Q. So it's a massive step up, isn't it?
Massive step up. And like I said, we went to Australia, launched this product globally for Weber. So to think about, I remember when they told us, they made us sign non-disclosure agreements and, you know, just to show us the products. And they said that, you know, for the first time in the history of Weber globally, I think they said 6 billion people on the planet and 30 million between Australia and New Zealand. And for Australia and New Zealand to launch this globally was such a big deal. And for everyone at Weber that worked hard to make sure that that launch went really well and people are talking about it, their new marketing and the new ads, brilliant. But the barbecue itself, like you sit there again and you pinch yourself. So you sit in this big room and, you know, it's like working at Apple. They're saying, oh, people wanted a higher searing temperature. We've fixed that. You know, people wanted a flat plate. We've done this. This is what our customers asked for. And I'll touch base there on why Weber is so successful and what I think one of the best things they've ever done is, and the best thing I've ever heard in retail is, you know, they say warranty is a form of marketing. So your igniters have got a lifetime warranty. They'll replace them for free. They're here in Australia, New Zealand. Head office is here in Adelaide. So if you can't buy an igniter for a Weber Q, they're free. you can't buy handles for a Weber kettle. They are free. So if you've had a Weber kettle for 40 years and your wooden handles are rotted out, you can ring Weber and they'll replace them with plastic ones today for free. I mean, companies just don't do that anymore, right? And they'd rather give you the handles for your Weber kettle than to put an ad on Google Ads to try to get you to buy a Weber. Their customer service, it's all about customers. So when you're sitting in this room with a global giant like Weber, recognizing how big this moment is for them to launch this Weber Q in Australia, like I said, you're sitting there going, this is amazing. But again, based around customer service. And that's the biggest thing you'll find with the Weber, and why I did get my Weber storage, because the barbecue that I had, that I won, the igniter rusted out. I couldn't find one anywhere. Made a phone call, and they're like, oh, we're in Adelaide. I said, well, I need to buy one of these igniters that rusted out. They said, oh, no, we'll send you one for free. So next time I went to buy a barbecue, you know, they said, oh, get this Weber. It's got a 10-year warranty. And I said, well, it's outside. It's going to get rained on. He said, 10-year warranty. And it was $5,500. And I had a budget of $3,000. And I said, I'll take it. I'll take it, because I knew that if something went wrong with that barbecue in the next 10 years, that phone call, I didn't have to fill out a form online. I didn't have to wait to hear back. You know, hi, it's Barnesy. I bought this Weber. It's rusted out. It's under warranty. We'll fix it. So we hear stories like that every day about Weber and their warranties. It's pretty easy to deal with customers and say, yeah, Rian, just give them a call and they'll look after you. You know, so
that's unreal.
It's a king of a brand. It's a weapon. It's a global giant, and I just love representing him in any way, shape, or form I can. And I pinch myself every minute I can do that.
No, but you represent them really, really well, and probably a few different.
Yes.
What were you guys? Yeah.
I was going to say one of the other things that I saw new was those new Weber knives. They look quite sharp.
Oh yeah, that turned up, didn't it? It's not a knife pun.
I tried.
They are. Yeah, they're razor sharp. And actually, if you do get to see any of the knives in the shop, there's a coin in there. And does anyone know what it means if you buy someone a knife without giving them a coin? It's an act of war. It's an act of war. So Weber have gone to this point of even putting a replica coin in there that's a magnet of a kettle silhouette on there. So if you get the Weber knives and you see the coin,
oh, that's good.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
If someone's taken the coin out of the box, you know they don't like you. So there's plenty of acts of war. I actually ask customers at the checkout, I say, do you want it with the coin or without the coin? Who's it for? Is it for your father-in-law? I've got them without the coin. Or is it for your brother-in-law with the coin? So we got, the Weber knives look good. They're always, looking at new products. Innovation's killer, and at the forefront of that Weber. And even the front-facing grease management tray now, which is just one of the new features in that, is it's just so much easier than having to do the reach around and get it from around the side there. Front-facing control knobs.
That's awesome.
Everything like that.
Oh, we've got a question from Manny. I should explain, actually, if you do have any questions.
Ask questions, people. That's good.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. But Manny asked, any ideas why Weber don't have all colors available on kettles like they do in the States?
Yeah, so great question, Manny. And one of those, and my take on this, again, I don't work for Weber, is when McDonald Co. used to own Weber before 2020, you have to keep so many in stock to warrant them. So if they bring out a red kettle, for us to hold, 1,000 extra red kettles to warrant that for the next, 5 years is a lot of stock and a lot of real estate. Now that we're seeing the colours come through and it's globally owned, you'll see a lot more colours coming through, I think, in that regard. And a lot of people love the colours, There's some. We've seen that ghost grey with the fade on there, and the orange one that's going to come out. We're like everyone else. We're sitting there going, "Please get
your favourite colour."
Yeah, it looks good. It really looks.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's it. The money's fallen out of his wallet already.
Yeah, and coloured kettles, the blue GAs. I mean, people lost lifelong relationships over that. Yeah. People were ringing up. I thought you were my mate. And I was like, mate, I've got 5 of them. I've got 5 of the blue ones. I've got 27 staff members. How do you reckon I'm going to get you one, mate? People go crazy for the colours, and you'll see that obviously Yeti do the same thing now with their seasonal releases of colours.
How good's the Yeti Red?
Oh, the Rescue Red.
Oh, Rescue
and
Red's unreal.
Another brand. Like I remember being there at 9:00 in the morning, and Yeti released this green and this orange, and there were people dressing up in green and orange. I actually have competitions now for best dress.
Look, I've got one of the greens, but I didn't dress up, right? I didn't dress up.
People were there. I had 10 people in the shop at 9 o'clock in the morning, all dressed up in green and orange. I'm sitting there going, how good's this? Like, let's go. Let's pump up the jam. Let's get some Technotronic on. Like, let's go. Let's play some 90s bangers and get going. So, yeah, we did that.
Oh, it's playing in my head now, that song.
Yeah, come on, put the jam. Well, and it's such a good track too. Whenever we're out, we pump it up.
It is. The music just went downhill after the 90s, mate, as far as I'm concerned. But it was a good decade.
I haven't heard much after the 80s, but a couple of 90s tracks. Other than that, I'm living in the past. And I guess that's the thing. When we talk about the music in the store, and a lot of people, they haven't evolved with retail. So you get trained in retail and how to do things. And, you know, I look at something and go, you'd never be able to play Eminem or Dr. Dre in a retail shop. People would go, that's crazy, right? You can't play Eminem and Dr. Dre. I don't know if we've got live filters on here or whatever, if we just shut the show down. But
sure, let's pretend.
We're cranking Dr. Dre and Eminem and stuff like that. And if you think about it, people that listen to Eminem were listening to it 30 years ago. So they're 51 years of age right now. So you'd sit there and go, you can't play hip hop in the shop. Mate, I've got 55-year-old ladies just dancing around the shop like this when Eminem comes on and Dr. Dre. AC/DC they were listening to 50 years ago. So you have to be 60, 70 years old just to like AC/DC. So a lot of people's music tastes, like I said, I'm not worried about if someone's offended by Dr. Dre or, Hilltop Hoods or Metallica or 90s bangers. Like, people love it because it takes them back. Like I said, the 55-year-old lady, she's 25 again. She's having a good time. That's what she listened to when she went nightclubbing 30 years ago. And they can walk into a shop now and go, yeah, thank God we're not listening to elevator music. And probably another one thing that I'd take out of it is, it's got to look good, smell good, taste good, and sound good. And barbecue, you imagine if you went to someone's barbecue, I'll be honest with you, I got kicked out of the golf club last night because they wouldn't let me turn the radio on, right? Because you imagine going to someone's barbecue and them not having a radio on. You just sit there and go, it doesn't make sense. I'm leaving. Like, put the radio on. Like, I'll see it as, you'd walk in with your esky, you'd sit there and go, oh, the boys are out the back, Mark and Rayan, come out, put your esky down, listen to some music, stand around the plate, have a good time. And that's sort of what we create in the shop. Music's number one. It's got to look good. It's got to be clean and ready. One of the things too is that I guess is quite hard in a retail sense is, we're trying to cook baby back ribs or tomahawks or pulled pork in front of people, and we're not chefs. So I sit there and go, it's quite daunting for someone, and there's an anxiety for cooking for people. If you've got friends coming over for Friday night, and you're cooking tea for them, you want to make sure that your house is clean, that you've done your preparation, that, all the glasses match and your food's right. And you're paying attention to detail, right? Because you're entertaining people, and that's what we love to do. And there's a nervous sort of tension that comes to that is, I don't want to stuff this up. I want to get everything right. They're friends of mine. I want to make sure that the chicken's perfect. And, when we do it at a store level, I say to people, look, you can't be nervous. You've just got to cut the chicken open in front of them and know that we've done all the best work to make sure it looks good and tastes good. And same with your house, right? You want people to come over and have a good time and enjoy themselves and get the radio going before they even get there. Like, come on, you only live once.
That's it, mate. And I think that's sort of a not a lost art per se, but something that definitely is lost now that, just creating the atmosphere, especially in the barbecue realm. Because I think, going to a Weber store, you sort of want the atmosphere and you want to feel like, oh man, this is a great place. And, I want to come back and I want to buy, like buy more products, the rubs, the sauce, and buy another accessory and things like that. So now you've done
bringing that sort of life back into the house where you want as well. Right?
Yeah,
so
that's
this is the atmosphere I want for when my friends come and visit. This is what I want to do, and I'll just take everything I can and kind of replicate that in my own home.
Yeah, I think that's the key thing. I mean, I love my music, and for me, it's if I don't have music at a barbecue, it's just not the same.
Yeah,
It's
like not having beer at a barbecue. Like, why would you be there? You just be like, see you later. Like, I'm going home now.
That's true.
That's
true.
Well, the Weber stores, and you touched on that, and I think one of the things that we've done is we brought the rubs into the Weber stores, which truly makes it a barbecue shop where you can come and actually talk to us and say, we've tried these rubs, we've eaten them. This is a great combination for your chicken. And a lot of people aren't used to rubs. Once you start getting them into rubs, like imagine cooking without rubs now and trying to make your own, you just wouldn't be able to do it. But
no, absolutely.
So we feel like what we've created in our model, is being replicated throughout the Weber stores, or a lot of them around Australia, where the music's playing and the food's cooking and the rubs are there, and people can go in and actually talk barbecue to people who live and breathe it and have a good time. And like I said, I've seen a relaunch of the Moore Park store the other day in Sydney, and they had a DJ in there and a party going. I was just like, yeah, this is great. Like, this is what we want to be a part of. Barbecue has got to be part of that scene, and it's got to be a fun retail environment. And
absolutely,
people, like, I'm at 2 homemaker centres, right? Jeps Cross and Mile End, and like I said, there'd be a lot of people spending their Saturdays walking around there looking at haberdashery and linen with their wives, just looking over at the Weber store going, I might just go in there and
pop in there for a bit, love.
And, they come out 2 or 3 days later a little bit weary, but like I said, you're seeing things like the brisket board, like a big piece of reclaimed Australian hardwood timber, and you just look at it and go, wow, like this was built for someone who loves barbecue, right? So you see the customers just fascinated when they see that. You're showing them rubs, and I guess one of the things with the rubs is their labels, right? They're just so funny and so entertaining, and people really get off on them. We've got Suck Knuckle here, which is one of our favourite chicken dusts, and MWA I love, and they're all great, and that's what we're seeing coming through the Weber stores. Hopefully now there's a lot of rubs, a lot of fun, a lot of music, and it's got to be a bigger and better thing right now. So I'm thinking, last time I had a boat there and a 4-wheel drive and a caravan, but it's got to get bigger and better. I want to see circus animals. Like, I've got visions of just going crazy in the shop, but you see the people coming back and loving it, and like I said, they really want to come and have a good time, because retail's dead, right? There's not too many retailers out there. If you walk into JB Hi-Fi or Bunnings, you're not going there for service, right? You're just sitting there going, I've come to spend $3,000 on the laptop, and you're actually doing laps of the bench, so I can't follow you to buy it off you. That's how it seems in retail. And for me, it's like, whatever your role is on the day, whether it's stocking shelves or cleaning barbecues or preparing it for an event, your number one and only role is to make sure that the customer gets serviced. Anything else after that, you're just doing that because it's part of your job. But
100%.
We want to service everyone that comes in there and look after them, and we genuinely do. I'm not driven by money. I don't care about success. I want to be the best Weber store operator in Australia, and I want to make sure that my customers are looked after and carry on that customer service that Weber have made famous throughout the barbecue industry in Australia since 1978 for 45 years.
Now, I mean, look, you sort of said it, best Weber store in Australia, and I mean, you did win the Ross McDonald Award, so you've obviously been acknowledged as having one of the best Weber stores in Australia too. What did that mean to you, Barnesy? I mean, your speech when you won, you could see the emotions, you could see the passion. What did that mean, mate, to actually walk away with the golden kettle?
Yeah, just and I was emotional. I remember standing there with Mike, and when you see the golden kettle up close, and I love rare kettles and people that collect kettles and stuff like that. And I think that's probably the rarest one in Australia and the hardest one to get. Like, I had to work well over a year to do that and tick certain boxes. And when you come from outside of the industry and you come into something that's new and you're unknown, and there's 50 Weber stores, and there was not a person in the room or the company that didn't know that I was there to win that. Like, I made it clear from the start, like, this is what I want. I want to be the best at what I do. I want to be the best Weber store in Australia, and I will work hard to make sure that I do that. So when he read my name out, Luke read my name out, it was the effort that Weber went to and the recognition that they gave me. I was actually crying 15 minutes later with Mike McDonald, like, just looking at it, just going, man, this is the greatest thing that ever happened in my whole life. You know, to be, like I said, to go to Weber for one day and work at head office is amazing. To get recognised amongst your peers as, you know, the Ross McDonald Award. And when you think about Ross McDonald, and for those that don't know, Ross brought Weber to Australia in 1978. He brought it to Adelaide in 1978. So I'm passionate about South Australia. And we're at the Adelaide Oval when they had that awards night. And I was lucky enough, probably 7 weeks before, just behind where I received that award, I was cooking on 3 Weber kettles at an Adelaide Crows event when Collingwood were playing. Yeah. And I'm just sitting here going, this is incredible. Like to win this award and to think, if you guys think how much Ross, and I talked to you about that roasting and, you know, backyard cricket and the Weber kettle, how much Ross bringing that barbecue to Australia in 1978, the Weber kettle, which is hands down the best barbecue in the world. It's changed the Australian barbecue landscape. It's changed the way that we share pastimes. If you talk to any Australian and you want to cling to nostalgia, I guarantee you they'll go back to standing around a barbecue, whether it's in a backyard, whether it's in a park. And that's where your great memories are. Yeah, very few bad memories happen around a barbecue. They're generally good. You're bringing family and friends together for a good occasion, right? There's a lot of, we're talking about accountants before. Like, you don't have too many good memories going to the accountants, right? Like, just, but that was a great standing around if that's standing, good tax return you might, but standing around a barbecue, whether it's with, and I'm thinking of some of the great barbecues I've seen over the years. I remember we were at Southport in Brisbane one day. There was probably about 20 of us around, you know, still one of those stainless steel plates in the park on the foreshore, and just amazing times, smelling onions and beer and fat. It's just incredible. So what Ross has done, and to be recognised by Weber and to win a Golden Weber after Ross, is certainly the biggest thing that's ever happened in my life, and I'm grateful forever, and I appreciate everything that the people at Weber have done. And I guess the one thing with Weber is, and you know, hopefully they don't mind me saying this, but they don't censor me too often these days. But when I went to Weber, I was a little bit out there for Weber. You know, they were sort of a little bit more conservative, and I was a little bit more out there. So I think we met in the middle somewhere. They weren't have beers like in the shop. He goes, "You can't put beers in the shop." I said, "They're beer fridges, man." And he goes, "Oh, we'll let you put the beers in." About 3 months later, he goes, "They're not drinking the beers, are they?" I said, "Yeah, you can drink them." Like, but so to go down that path with Weber, and I remember, that's how funny it was. And recently we had a party at Mile End, and it was the first time I tapped a keg in the store, which was another great moment in my life. Tapping a keg of beer in your retail shop, that's amazing.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
You know, about 6 or 7 key people from Weber come down on the Friday afternoon. They were sitting there having a beer. We had about 100 people in the shop and a radio station. I thought, you know, that's that little bit of, you know, if I've had some little impact on the Weber store model, to have these guys sitting there having a beer, listening to music and partying in the shop, you know, it's incredible to think. And it's I'm grateful for Weber for the opportunity. And like I said, they've taught me a lot, but hopefully I've shown them ways that we can take through Weber store and be successful as a team and a group, and just drive this brand forward. And what do you guys think? The Weber store name's pretty big now, isn't it? Like, it's only...
Well, I think the model that you've sort of put together, others are going to start replicating. Like, it's not just Weber, but as a business as a whole, what you've done is made it an inclusive, fun place where I want to go and I want to go see what's happening. I want to go shop there. Others can do it, not just within the barbecue community. I think it's a really good model you put together.
That's it. I think
you reckon going shopping in the next 12 months would be like going to a nightclub there. You'd be going to Spotlight and having a beer. And
I'll still leave with the same amount of money in my pocket.
Head to JB Hi-Fi for a Mega Bomb. So,
mate, if I get a Jaeger bomb at JB Hi-Fi, I'd be fine. Mate, imagine
we had.
I just needed an extra couch.
It's good with exactly. It's good with the social media side of it when you see people, you know, doing things, or you see things pop up in shops, and like you said, it's not just Weber stores. I remember setting up for this party, and we're putting gazebos out and that in the morning, and one of our competitors, they come out and they're not active in a lot of areas, and they were putting out this little gazebo, looked like a little super cheap, like a little plastic job, and we had these big gazebos and big cars and everything. And I sort of looked over at them and went, "At least I know you're watching my social media," right? Because they're trying to have this party and replicate this event. And it was just like, good luck to you. But so my mum actually hadn't been to my shop that was at Mile End, and she's older, and she actually went down to that other shop, and no one was there, and she walked around thinking it was my shop. And then she came to my shop about half an hour later, and there's 250 people there, and everything happened. She goes, I went to the other shop. I didn't think anyone turned up to your party. Like, and I was like, oh, no, everyone's turned up to my party, Mum. That's the other shop. But, you know, it's all good, and just a bit of fun along the way. And, you know, if everyone does take a little part of it, good luck to them. You know, I know it works for me. And I think that, you know, that one of the things that does work is my character and my personality. It's pretty easy to talk barbecue when your name's Barnesy and you're 100+ kilos and you clearly drink beer and listen to AC/DC and Cold Chisel. It's not that hard. People know I'm not faking it. It's a lot harder talking about curtains and flooring and going, oh, yes, dear, this is very nice. And do you like this soft ambient colour? And it's like, whatever. Let's get some steaks going, eh?
That's it, man. And you actually, before you said one of my favorite words, mate. Haberdashery. I don't know what it is. Say it again. Haberdashery.
Haberdashery.
So
yeah.
I had to come back to that one. But Barnesy, I just wanted to say, mate, while we're still sort of on the topic, you like, just so, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you deserve the Ross McDonald Award too. By the way, mate, it's what you've done is unreal, mate, and I think it's definitely set a path of. Because I think that the Weber, it's a whole nother level of Weber store that you created and the way you do it. So congratulations, but yeah, well deserved too, mate. To just be proud of that one, because I think that's definitely worth the time and effort you put into it. And I know it's a lot of time and effort you put into to getting what you've got.
Yeah, it is, but you love doing it and you back it up. And thank you for meaning that. And I also, you know, I'm not. By no way, shape, or form am I saying that I've you know, done anything to create or grow the Weber Store network. Hopefully, some of the things have taken off and people have seen some of my ideas. But I'm doing the same with other people. The great ideas that people are bringing in. We had a guy the other day doing some Baywatch stuff up there. I don't know if you follow JK up there, but he come in dressed as David Hasselhoff and Pamela Anderson when the surf lifesaving was going. So there's a lot of people just seeing where you can go with it. I guess the one thing is, and you guys would know this, is social media's got to be fun, right? It's got to be entertainment.
Yeah.
If it's not, people are going to zone out. And so we sort of created a few different models when we had TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and went, well, let's go down this path for Facebook, and let's go down this path for Instagram, and let's go down this path for TikTok, because you're appealing to different generations. You know, we're doing stuff on TikTok going. You know, we're throwing blue waffles around and stuff like that and going, you know, we would normally try to do that. And we're not taking cooking seriously at all. We're just mucking around and getting some pretty good traction from that. You know, I was at a surf shop one day and, you know, a 15-year-old girl behind the counter goes, oh, you're the guy off TikTok. 40-year-old men don't normally hear that when they're in surf shops. Like, you know, but to be recognised by younger people. And I think Weber have said that to me along the way, as they said that I've you know, appealed to the younger demographic and hopefully made, you know, Weber top of tongue for a lot of people, because I couldn't tell you a bad Weber. They're all good, but they're just the three behind me are 3 killing barbecues, aren't they? You got your Weber Q, your smoke fire, and your kettle, just all time. Like I said, for what this has done for Australia, it changed the barbecue landscaping back in 2004. This is the best barbecue. What do you guys reckon of all time? You know, the Weber kettle.
I love the kettle, mate. I remember when I first got the kettle, and you sort of mentioned having that barbecue, having friends over, and I think you probably
it's the one you always recommend for someone starting out as well. That's your go-to when you start a barbecue. That's
it's so versatile. That's what I like about it. But I remember just cooking, cooking for mates, and you guys rocked out. I did a big tomahawk.
Oh yeah, it was good.
Early days,
and we just watched you searing it. It was delicious.
Yeah, you know, it was just. And the kettle sort of, you know, it sort of brings that people together, which is great.
Well, it made it like an experience, right? It became sort of a show as well, right? It wasn't just the food, but it was actually the presentation, what you're doing to produce it, that made it exciting for everybody.
No, absolutely.
Have you had the chimichurri from BRZ? Have you had Adriano's chimichurri?
I haven't tried his chimney, actually. It's good, is it?
I'll send it to you. It's absolutely, it's a dry mix rub, but you can, you put some oil in there and some apple cider vinegar, and mix it up.
Yep.
But that on a tomahawk is as good as I've ever had. There's some really good chimichurris around.
Chimmy on a steak.
Jimmy always goes good on the steak.
Yeah. Was it Toad Kitchen Cupboard?
Yes.
Yeah. He's
that's
really
He's
I'm
my
thinking
go-to
of that,
Jimmy at the moment.
I know. That's
so,
an unreal
and his
one as well.
coffee, his ancho rubs killer on a steak. Like,
Oh, is it?
he's
Oh,
got
yeah,
some,
yeah.
yeah, you've got to try it. It's that's probably one of my favourite steak rubs. His ancho one. It's really good, Toads, and he's got a really good product. There's a Sir Direct, which has got some hot chimichurris, but really. There's really
in the jar,
Oh, hang on, this sounds like what I want. Hang on.
Yeah, you can almost spoon it out, right?
That's good.
Right. So we'll get you some sent over of Adriano stuff. It's as good as you can have on a tomahawk, I'd say.
Yeah, mate. Chimmy on a steak for me they go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah, and cooking the tomahawk on a Weber kettle and putting some chimmy on it, like, and especially if you get a good one. We're lucky enough we get supported pretty well from Austral Meat, who are massive in the lower side. Yeah, and then right next door to me at my Jep's Cross. So they're 200 meters away. So you sit there and go, let's cook a black onyx tomahawk. And within 2 minutes, you've got one in your hand going, let's go. One at Sydney, let's go. And it's all happening. And then you've got access to literally thousands of rubs. So it's that's what a Wednesday afternoon looks like at BBQ Adelaide, where you sit there and go, anyone else feel like chicken wings? Yeah, right. Oh, you walk out the back door, you come back with 2 bags of chicken wings, and just start playing around. So
that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. I think the Weber store is created in such a way that you literally should be just cooking as much as you can.
Yeah.
Because I think because you walk in and you smell that and you're like, you want that, And
the smell's a trigger for people, and it's a good experience. It's like if you got a taxi and it stunk like cigarettes. Like, smell's got a memory, so people love the barbecue smell.
Yes, so absolutely. It takes you back, right? It takes you back.
Yeah, and as much cooking as we can do in store. And I guess one of the things, if I circle back to the low and slow barbecue community, is and that sort of nervous energy that you can get when you're cooking for people, is that how humble they are and what great people and generous people they are. Like, people that would look outside or go, these guys are bogans. They got long hair and high vis and drinking VB. I'm talking about Sam Ellis. Sammy, I love you. But
chopping trees
down, mate. But some of the most generous people that you'll ever meet, and with their time. But they're also so humble.
Legend,
he's a legend, and I'm thinking of everyone. But no one ever, even Paulie, no one ever makes you feel stupid. There's no such thing as a stupid question. You can ask him what's the difference between a point and a flat with the brisket. And they're always, this is that. They're willing to share their experience in their time. And we don't know everything, right? Like, so when we need to ask a question, you don't want to feel embarrassed and go, hey, man, how do you do this? Or how do you do that? Or what's an offset smoker? Or so many questions that you have. I mean, we're getting larger, obviously, in the catering space now, and bigger events. And I'm ringing Rick Carr daily because, he's cooking. I think he's using a ton of wood a week or something ridiculous. And he's just sitting there and smoking. Just a simple tip where he goes, all right, when we do sliders, we freeze them, then we slice them because they slice easier. Keep all the tops in one bag and all the bottoms in another. So when you set them up with the slaw, all the bottoms are ready to go.
Nice.
And you just sit there and go, wow, because you're mucking around the whole time when you're trying to get 50 sliders out.
That's a great tip.
It's a great tip. So he's got, 20 set up with the slaw on the bottom, putting the pork on, then just grabbing the top. So simple tips where you spend more and more time with these people, and you just sit there and then you show it to someone else. I love it when the amount of times people in the low and slow community, you'll hang the grill of your kettle on the side of your kettle here, and they go, I haven't seen that before. You go, it's a lot better than sitting it on the floor. So I think we're pretty lucky with how humble the barbecue community is and how willing they are to share knowledge or make you not feel like you don't know what you're talking about or you're inexperienced. Like I said, Adriano, he's a master at taking his time and explaining to you exactly what he's done and what he's doing. And I know that he spends every minute of his life trying to crack that full-time barbecue model and do it, and spending a lot of the time around the world. And the knowledge that I see when I work with him from from the last 3 years. And, you know, he'll go to America and come back, and then you just see the tips that he's picked up from different people around the world, and knowing that community and that humility and that willing to share their time and effort is like nothing I've ever seen. You know, people, like I said, when we opened, people just going, we're coming working for you for free.
Yeah.
You can't work for free. Like, I'm a business, I'm profiting. Like, you can't do it. No, we're doing it because we love it. And that's the generosity of the barbecue community, you know, obviously world over, is pretty good and pretty strong here in Australia. We're, you know, you guys are part of it, but we're all pretty blessed.
Oh, we are.
Oh, yeah.
I think Manny mentioned before, nothing beats the barbecue community. I think that's, especially during, you know, lockdowns and things like that, that really brought a lot of people together. And then, you know, I remember coming or going to the first meat stock and meeting so many people I met just virtually at the barbecue community, and it was just amazing. And it still is. Like, we have those like big events we catch up in, and you know, I know there's a barbecue event coming in Adelaide as well, the Ben's, which is like later this month. Like, there's just different events that you just want to come together and meet people. It's just so good, you know, and that bonding, you know, that you sort of get out of it.
Everyone brings you in and chats to you. It's great.
Yeah.
But every now and again, there is an exception. Now, I'm thinking of my great mate Sam Ellis and Paul Sullivan here. They know I love the Hilltop Hoods. Love them.
I know where this is going.
I'm telling you now, I've almost banned him from a shop. Paulie sends me this photo of this Hilltop Hood set list, and I'm going, why is he sending me this? And then next thing you know, he's got this access all areas pass. I'm going, what's going on here? They're backstage at Hilltop Hoods on a Friday night within 15 minutes from my house, knowing that I love them. Backstage, didn't even ring. They've rang everyone else in their phone book except me. So everyone else in the community is generous except for Sam and Paulie. They can get stuffed. I'm not inviting them backstage to the Foo Fighters when Dave Grohl comes here, because I hope you get back there, Paulie. So stuff you, mate.
No, that was very mean. I thought it was, yeah. I remember the stories and the post you put up straight after.
I'm like, what do you mean? Why are you sending me a photo of a set list? Oh, we're just at the Hilltop Hoods concert backstage. What? Everyone I run into for the next 3 weeks is, oh, Paulie invited me to the concert, but I was busy that night. Anyway, that's what mates are for, isn't it? Like,
no,
good
that's
luck
it, mate. Just gotta rub it in, mate.
He's gonna wake up without an eyebrow one day, I reckon, Paulie.
Now, mate, obviously you've obviously achieved a lot with the Weber store and things like that. But what, you know, who have been your mentors, and who do you look up to when you sort of, you know, from a business sense and a barbecue sense? Because I guess there's a mix there of and obviously you've got a whole bunch of experience as well. But yeah, who's your mentors and sort of people that you look up to in this industry?
Well, I'm pretty lucky. I've got some good mates that have been around retail a lot, that have taught me a lot. I was very lucky early in my career to work with fantastic salespeople with great training methods. So the flooring company that I have, Solomon's Flooring, had excellent training there from the time I was 21, from a retail aspect, and plenty of good mentors there. But the people that, you know, and I've mentioned Sammy and Paulie and Adriano and these guys that I've worked heavily with, and Tony Dick and Rick Carr. Aaron Palmer also, like, you know, obviously he was just on MKR, loves it.
Yeah.
He come and spent 2 days with me to help me out with some social media and stuff like that. Never asked for anything in return. Brought a friend in to film with us. But definitely the people at Weber. I mean, Weber's customer service division is excellent to deal with. I'm lucky enough. I've got the big dog down here, Peachy. I've given him a little bit of stick along the journey about his long rod. He bought this fishing rod into the shop years ago for an Easter setup, and I used that for a prop for about 2 months at his expense. And it was up trees, it was in bushes, it was hidden, and he had this massive long rod. He reckons he went to use it. I had a fair bit of bad luck along the way, and he's cast it, and the end snapped off his rod and fell into the water at the jetty. And I thought, so I bought him a new rod, and then he snapped that in his tunnel boot of his caravan. So Peachy, the big dog at Weber's, always good. I'd say to anyone that to work for a company or work with a company like Weber, and the size of it, how genuine they actually care about you and their customer, and obviously I am a customer to Weber, but it's just incredible. Like that, most of the people at Weber, like Luke Staunton, who's a major part of setting up these Weber stores, he's just a genius when it comes to Weber store, and his work ethic, I'd say to you, is the best I've ever seen in my life. So I look up to Luke Staunton and go, like, I remember when we were building Jeps Cross and we were behind the 8 ball, and it's the first time I really spent any time with him. And I was dropping him at his hotel room at 3 a.m. and picking him up at 6 a.m. and he never complained once. And we were unpacking boxes and that. We had this deadline. And I remember one night, it's about 11 o'clock. I said, right, that's it. We're not going to be able to move all this stuff. I said, I'm going to put an ad on Gumtree, $25 an hour cash in hand. Let's see who turns up and wants to lift all this stuff with us. Oh, we got a couple of ice addicts, I reckon, turn up within half an hour, right? It was unbelievable. We were watching a video game. They did about 3 days work in about 20 minutes for us. It's like, that's the best $50 we've ever spent there, mate. He goes, this is unbelievable. So I think he goes, mate, one of them's a carny. Like he was a carny. So they turned up and did a lot of work with us, but just to butter up and then just drop him into town at 3 a.m. and to pick him up at 6 a.m. and just, I remember, and I've lost 40 kilos recently, had weight loss surgery, so I was very, very unfit. And I remember just sitting on a chair for an hour watching him stock this Weber Q wall at probably 1:30 in the morning at Mile End. And when you talk about a mentor or someone that you've got respect for, someone with work ethic that just gets it done, does not complain. There's a job, there's a deadline. I will rest later when the shop's open, and I'll rest then, but I won't rest now until the shop's open and I've given 100%. So Luke's certainly been good at Weber for me. Jeff Mays, the national sales manager, really was instrumental in getting me Mile End. Most of the people at Weber are pretty good, and most of the people in the community are good. I should say all the people. But there's a girl that works at Weber. She's leaving as Schrader. She does all the training and stuff like that, but she's just got the best demeanor, one of the best attitudes I've ever seen for someone that works. A lot of good people. A couple of cleaner honourers like Paul Moon from Victoria, the state manager. I'm only throwing that out there to get back at your Mooney because he's always trying to stitch me up. So g'day Mooney, if you're watching in there in Victoria, do something.
I ran into Mooney not so long ago down in Geelong when the store was getting built. So it was it was good to catch up with him.
Well, we recently I got a butcher's set up in the shop. I went and got this. I'm sure you would have seen a photo, but there's all this hanging meat. I've got this core flute set up, and then at the front was like a butcher's window. So I got it set up for Paulie. So it's a little set, and the big dog got a message from Mooney and said, "Has Barnesy wheeled in a cart to the shop and with all this meat and that on it?" He goes, "No, it's a core flute thing." And he, Peachy reckons he's nicknamed Mooney the Lantern because he's not very bright and he needs to be carried. So that's one for you. Next time you see Mooney, call him the Lantern. Say good day from me.
All right, mate. No, Barnesy, we're gonna wrap things up. It's been amazing chatting to you. One thing we want to do, I suppose, is you've done. We've had a few comments through the show. We need to pick a winner of who the best comment. I'm not sure how many you've seen, but did you have one that stood up, mate? So we can shout them a bit of merch. He's got it.
Was it Millie?
Was it Manny? I think Manny. Was it Manny? The question.
That's how I cannot even see these days.
No, that's all right. Was
Matty? Matty was a good one.
Yeah, all right, we'll go with Manny. All right, Manny, congratulations, buddy. You've won some merch. I'll be in touch with some information how you can pick something up. But what's next for you, Barnesy? What's coming up? With Weber and your stores leading up to Christmas, because obviously this is peak season coming up.
It's peak season now, and it is go time. So we've got 4 events on next week. We've got some big ones coming up. Golf days seem to be the flavour of the month at the moment. We created a party hole. Yeah, so we've got a party hole. Golf. Yeah, mate, it's killer. Like we're playing, we're going to some of the most epic golf clubs in Adelaide and having people tee off to, Foo Fighters and stuff like that, and Guns N' Roses and traditional people, and and trying to bring a bit of fun back there and work with people. Well done, Manny. She's just written woohoo there. Obviously, the boys didn't tell you what the prize is, but I think it's an envelope and $10 or something like that. But it's going to be good.
Cash $5.
That's all right. So yeah, thanks for having me. There's plenty coming up with Weber. Plenty coming up with what we're doing. We're on South Aussie with Cozzy tomorrow, TV show, which we filmed the killer episode about the new Weber Q, and just. I can't thank you guys enough for having me on and recognising, it's good that people like the content and what you're creating and what you're doing, and it is good to hear that. And I do work hard for recognition and hopefully can do my little bit to support the barbecue community where possible and give back and let it grow and especially the low and slow community.
That's about it. And yeah, thank you, mate, for again for bringing that community together in Adelaide and obviously spreading that love across Australia as well. Hopefully, Mark and I will be in Adelaide sometime soon, and we can come party with you in one of your stores, mate.
Road trip and eat.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Well, let me finish with this. If you're in South Australia, get down to Jeb's Cross or Mile End because it's going to be cranking. Later.
All right, guys, that was Barnesy from BBQ Adelaide. If you are looking for him, make sure you check out BBQ Adelaide on the socials. Mark,
that's the best exit I've ever seen from any guest.
No one's actually done that before. So. That's it. That's so good. Well, first episode done, dusted. How are you feeling?
Good. Yeah.
You only finished one beer, mate.
I know. Well, I was listening and enjoying. Yeah, sure. I've got more here.
I've got it. Yeah, look, thanks everyone for listening. Obviously, that was Barnes for BBQ Adelaide. It was great. Huge thanks to our sponsors, Jack's Creek, some of the best red meat you get out. Beef you're going to get. I should just say red meat. But yeah, best beef in Australia. So go check them out, jackscreek.com.au, and your local butchers with our fear, creating some amazing, apparel to start conversations and bringing people out of fear, which I really love. And yeah, love what Dan's doing there. So go check him out. And I think we do got a discount code. So if you go to withoutfearco.com, we got barbecue 15 to get 50% off, or don't use it. So they get 15% more,
which is good.
Which you probably should. Yeah, don't use the discount code. And versus merch, obviously, with the threads here. Manny, congratulations, buddy. You've won yourself a voucher for our store. So we'll flick you some details so you can pick some things up. Can't wait to see you in it. And yeah, huge thanks to our mates at Mount Pleasant Road Brewers. Obviously, give us this great stage, and we got through the sound issues.
Yeah, look, they've nearly finished the green room. I saw it getting built. That's looking pretty good out there. So in a few weeks' time, we'll probably give you a nice shot out that way of all the cool things that are being built. So some exciting things going to happen down here over the next, I think, 6 months. It'll be good.
No, that's it. And who's coming on next?
We got Dave.
That's local. Right. Oh, yeah, that's right. So, yeah, Dave from Geelong Smoke Brisket. It's going to be in a couple of weeks. So we're going to either do it live or we might do it pre-recorded. We'll see how we go. Yeah. The same sort of thing. We'll be giving away a T-shirt there as well from merch as well. But, yeah, Dave's going to come in and tell us his story. So he's obviously...
Hopefully he brings some brisket in with him.
He better. Because, he actually can. So we should hit him up. But besides that, thanks for coming back, Mike. It'd be good. And, thanks to Barnesy. And thanks everyone joining in and getting involved. And we'll see you next time on the BBQ Brews Show.
See you guys.
See you guys.